Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna, be a part of it and knock doors. If not for anything other than just to spite the corporate media and the MSNBC and CNN and all these people that just talk so much crap about the guy just trying to help poor people and working people.
What kind of stuff specifically in the mainstream media?
So I was at home. I hadn't decided to come to Vegas yet, and I was just sitting on my couch, and unfortunately, my father watches MSNBC a lot.
I think there's a lot of people's parents out there who have the MSNBC brain parasite.
Yeah, but it's weird because I've completely convinced him and my stepmom to be Bernie bros.
Excellent.
But he just can't kind of disconnect himself from that. But that's okay. So I was sitting there kind of.
You should get your dad and Adam's dad in the room together and have an MSNBC off.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone would be my dad. He literally watches it all the time. Anyway, so I'm sitting there watching it, and they were having, I can't remember if it was Brian Williams or Chris Matthews or whatever. They were having kind of like a thing where they, talk to a bunch of random people that are, different supporters of different candidates for Las Vegas, and they literally talk to every candidate except Bernie Sanders, right? Mm-hmm. Which, as we know now, is just so disingenuous because he had almost 50% support. So they pretty much probably had to go out of their way not to find a Bernie Sanders supporter. So if they're not bashing him openly on the network, they're just ignoring him, and that I think speaks so much to their bias. But I also think that people see through that shit now. Obviously, as you can see, with him getting almost 50% of the vote, so that's encouraging at least.
Sorry, this might be a tangent, but you just made me think of something. How much MSNBC does your dad watch exactly?
Oh, it's a lot.
Like, is he just sitting there and it's on all day?
Yeah.
Okay, I know that there are people who do this, but has it occurred to anyone that that's not right? Because MSNBC, it's supposed to be news, right? It's like ostensibly this is to keep you informed. And you watch you should probably only need to watch like an hour of news. Right. Be like, okay, I get the gist of what's going on in the world. So the concept of binge watching this, like watching an entire just 6-hour stretch of it, it's not just, destroying your brain. I'm saying you're going into this with something, something's not right here. And it's either that maybe it tricked you and it sucked you in because, I watch MSNBC. I have it on in the background to keep tabs on it. And it's just every 15 minutes, it's like, wow, big new revelation in the Russia scandal. Think, let's go to a guy who's going to say, I think this one might do Trump in. So, it's like, so they've got to obviously play up the fucking, the sensationalism, the drama every, 50 minutes to keep you hooked in. But also, I mean, I don't know, are people just getting tricked into it, or is it I just want to watch news all day?
I think people just like having a TV on. I mean, this. I never did with cable news, thank God. But this reminds me, my experience with that would be at the, in my 20s, at the height of the peak of my fail existence of just unemployment and just avoiding reality. I would watch fucking ESPN and sports shit on TV all day because it was just this background hum of shit to keep my brain occupied until about 5 or 6 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, this is when a normal person would be getting off work. So the rest of the day is gravy. I've made it this far and don't have to face the grim reality of my life anymore. But Sports Center. Yes Network would have Mike and the Mad Dog come on at 1 o'clock. The broadcast of the radio show. This was a low point in my life. But thankfully,
World Series of Poker 2003.
Yeah.
Dan Harrington, ready for a comeback.
No, I had the exact same experience. That moment when part of the interruption came on.
Yes.
Here we go.
I made it. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it was like finding you're out at sea and you find a fucking piece of flotsam to carry.
And it was
carry you on the tide.
When Tony Reali and Around the Horn came on at 5, it's you could see dry land.
Yeah,
oh, thank God, made it through another day. Thank
so
God.
it's just pleasing colors and sounds.
And it's someone that is someone in your house talking to you. That's nice.
And also, I mean, I think it's the same thing as ESPN or sports cable news coverage is they have to fill 24 hours of the day with just information, I guess, but it's not all new information. It's just it's just.
And I also think it's the age we're in, right? The age of Trump, where it's you never know what's gonna pop up. So it's almost like people are waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And on the other hand, the news has turned almost into like in TMZ or E News, right, where it's like everything is so sensational. So it's almost like almost entertainment in a sense, where they're also trying to get informed, but they're also just watching for them to shit on Trump, which they do so often. So it's kind of just pleasing.
It's entertainment. Like this has obviously been a critique of the news media for a few decades now, but it just during the Trump administration, it's like it's gotten worse. It's drastically gotten worse. What's on MSNBC, and it is actually corrosive at this point. Like I do view it as bad to the body politic or whatever, to whatever degree that matters anymore, as Fox News 100%. Is and has been.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And anyone who's got a family member who's suffering right now from this problem, you know what I'm talking about.
Just get them to switch over to ESPN. You know, it's just like it's the same like mindless chatter and like non-information, but it's about something that's sort of separate from, you know, politics or just, you know, reality. It's like it's a contest and competition and things, but the stakes are just much lower.
Well, this is actually reminds me, because I was just editing the last San Diego episode, that thing you said on stage about how we should absolutely have a government program that produces a show where it's just
idea.
like Pete Buttigieg is the president in this show, and you can just watch it. And he plays himself, and you can just watch it. And it's just a show. They should do that and have it run 24 hours a day, and you can just have that. The fake politics going in the background.
What we should all do collectively is figure out a way to create counterfeit versions with deep fake technology of both Fox News and MSNBC, and then reprogram our families' televisions so that they go to that and they think they're watching their favorite channel, but they're actually watching this deep fake version of it with a completely fictional cast of people, like fictional characters instead of actual politicians, so that they literally won't even know what's happening outside of their home, and they'll just get invested in that.
Here's my proposal. Okay. We build a whole Oval Office set and a whole Congress set, and we like cast all of that stuff. You know, we cast a whole cabinet, you know, hundreds and hundreds of actors, and they're working 24/7. Like their entire lives are doing the show, but they're actors, and we just shoot them from all angles so that we can produce a multitude of television networks that describe the news that these actors are making. So it's just a sprawling project to create a
simulacra,
basically a simulacrum of our politics. And you know, you could have like our own ersatz Fox News that, you know, let's say the president's a Democrat, the fictional president's a Democrat, and they're always mad at him. And like we have a whole series of like talking heads who are themselves actors, who are themselves a part of the cast. And it's just, you know, just this massive project. I mean, this can be a part of the Green New Deal. That would be my proposal. I mean, that's, you know, it's going to cost a lot of money, and, you know, hey, some people aren't going to be able to plant trees. Okay, let's be real here.
I guess just more broadly, I think like, you know, people would be interested just in sort of your political evolution, because, you know, I know it's like just not even that long ago that, you know, we became aware of you through Twitter, and it was just thing like, holy shit, there's a Bernie Bro NFL player. And, you know, I think people were interested in that because, if, you know, you come from our circle, you just assume that, you know, everyone who's online and supporting Bernie Sanders is some kind of, you know, bitter weirdo who deeply resented all the people who were good at sports in high school and college and things like that. So they're reaching out. They want someone who will take up that mantle from the world of you know, mainstream achievement and athletic endeavor, shall we say? So I guess just like, did you grow up in a household where politics was something that was discussed a lot, or like how did you come to this?
No, not really, and that's why. I mean, I felt like I was a Democrat, and just because my parents were type thing, which I think a lot of people feel the same way or have that same experience. But I think a big part of my evolution was college, actually, because I went to Northwestern, you know, which is kind of funny. It's like, it's the nerd college, right? But we're in the Big Ten. Some people don't even know where we are.
I also went to Northwestern and can agree that from a non-sports playing person there, it is equally hilarious that we have a Big Ten sports team there.
Exactly.
When I'm like doing fucking theater projects 48 hours a day.
Yeah, so already kind of on the outskirts, right, of college football, although we were very good when I was there. So I guess, yeah, so my experience kind of started there because we had a lot of very intelligent people on our team. You know, I don't think a lot of us were very politically intelligent just because, like I said, I think the age of Trump kind of heightened everyone's awareness of this stuff. But during the Obama years, you know, pretty much the left was asleep, and There just wasn't a lot of talk. You didn't see it wall to wall news coverage about this stuff. So I just think it was easier to not be as involved. But we had a lot of very deep social type of and cultural type of discussions. But I remember one time I was at spring break, I think my junior year, and I've pretty much a group of very close friends, and we were in Denver, and it was just a late night. I'm sure we were all probably drunk or something, and we started to get talking about politics, and I think a few of them, from Texas, so obviously kind of Republican, and then myself, I'm sitting there, a black man, and Obama's the president, and my whole culture tells me, oh, he's the best president ever, and all this type of stuff. And then, so I'm trying to sit there and argue my case for why Obama's a good president, but I don't know shit. Like, I literally, I know nothing about what he's done or any of that type of stuff because I just hadn't paid attention. And that's kind of when it clicked in my brain, like, damn, I should really, actually start doing some research if I want to actually speak on these issues from a place of knowledge and not just look like an ignorant asshole, which I think is easy to do. So that's kind of the beginning.
So it was like
moment.
when you started to try to find a way to talk intelligently and defend Obama's record, that you began to realize that, oh wait, this guy actually isn't a good president.
Yeah, well, I think at the time I just didn't know, and then once I started doing a lot more research, it was very, I guess, disheartening to find out a lot of the stuff that he capitulated on or just failed to do. Obviously, I'm a very anti-war person, so all the drone bombing, all that type of stuff, expanding the wars, it's very disheartening for me because I would love to be able to say the first black president was super progressive and he fought for the working class and for poor people and for my people. He went to Flint, he fixed the pipes, he didn't leave till that was done, like all this type of stuff. But it's just not the case, and it's not based in reality. So that's just not something I can say, and that's a huge reason why I didn't chose kind of to reject Hillary Clinton's type of politics and accept Bernie Sanders type of politics.
I mean, I guess it sort of runs counter to like a stereotype that people may have about athletes at a college or professional level. But would people be surprised based on your experience at like the kind of political awareness or like orientation of people involved at like sports at that high a level?
I think what I've found out through college and especially through the NFL is it really is about class. Like it really transcends, I think. And it's very upsetting to me because I know that a lot of my peers come from these neighborhoods that are destitute, that feel like there's not a lot of opportunities there, and for a lot of people, like if you didn't play sports or you didn't rap or like it was hard to get out because the schools are so bad and there's no jobs. And so I know that if this was explained to a lot of the people that the type of people that are in the locker rooms of the NFL that come from those places, like I feel like they would be more on board with it. But because it's because you kind of have to go out of your way, especially once you're comfortable with your own life, once you have to go out of your way to see these things and research these things and understand these things on a deeper level, I think like I said, once you get comfortable, it's kind of easy not to do that. So like I said, I think if it was explained, I think more people would be on board, but it's just, I don't think it's as apparent, unfortunately, in those spaces.
I wanted to ask, kind of since we're on your like college experience here, I know around when you were playing, or maybe slightly before it, there was a big push to unionize the Northwestern football team. And that was after my time there, but I was, kept an eye on that because I thought it was very cool and right and good. And I was just reading, Sports Illustrated did a good follow-up on like why it didn't come together. That I thought was really interesting. But and I'll link it in the show notes. But were you involved in any of that, or did that affect any of your thinking around then?